Mert Ramazan Demir's new chapter has the tabloids humming again, and this time it isn't about a role or a scripted kiss. It's about a sentence that slipped out with the ease of truth and landed straight in the middle of the entertainment conversation. Welcome to Whispers of Turkish Stars. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and lend your support, because what we're about to unpack is one of those rare moments when the screen's magic spills into real life. The duo who swept viewers into a storm of emotion on Yali Kapkini, Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Ramazan Demir have become the center of a very different kind of scene. Not a scene rehearsed or lit by spotlights, but one shaped by warmth and candor. Afra, who has long stood shoulder to shoulder with Mert both as a co-star and a confidant, offered a comment that stirred the gossip world in the gentlest, most surprising way. She spoke about their relationship with a directness that felt almost old-fashioned in its sincerity. "We fit. We're aligned. Mert knows what he wants, and I'm the same," she said, allowing no room for speculation. "You can see how we hold each other up. I hope it always stays like this." Within minutes, that line made the rounds on message boards, fan pages, and the rooms where editors choose tomorrow's headlines, hailed not for provocation but for its calm certainty. But those few words didn't come out of nowhere, they were carried on the shoulders of a shared history that has been building since the very first table read. Their paths crossed on the set of Yali Kapkini, and the spark that audiences felt between them wasn't just an illusion crafted by angles and lighting. Behind the camera, there were late-night rehearsals, tea held between cold fingers on winter shoots, and a shorthand born of trust. Castmates recall how they watched each other's scenes even when they didn't have to, offering notes with respect rather than ego. Fans, still enchanted by their on-screen couple, continue to post clips with captions about how certain glances couldn't possibly be acting. Nostalgia for the show gave rise to a new kind of nostalgia, the kind for moments that slip between takes and linger unseen, whispered about by those who were there. Over time, Afra has described Mert with a combination of admiration and ease that can only come from proximity to the real person. She's talked about how tireless he is, how he holds on to humility even when the world rushes in to take it from him. "He is direct," she once said in a quiet interview. "He doesn't hide behind complicated sentences or perform sincerity. It's genuine." That's the sort of sentence that stays with you because it's not polished like press talk. It's worn smooth, like something people say to each other when the cameras are nowhere near. The trust between them, which began as colleagues learning to read one another's rhythms for the sake of a scene, slowly grew into something that didn't require scripts. The industry watched the evolution with a mixture of curiosity and care, noticing that the bond never seemed forced, never seemed convenient. It just existed, steady and unostentatious. Anyone who follows the magazine world knows a single sentence can tilt the day's mood, knocking rumor off its axis or, sometimes, confirming everything the whispers already assumed. Afra's remark about their harmony, its simplicity, its absolute lack of theatricality, did exactly that. It ricocheted through comment sections, slipped into headlines, and in the same breath quieted the speculative noise that tends to hover around popular couples. Because that sentence wasn't just confirmation of romance, it was a statement about what they are choosing to be. It showcased care without possession, pride without bravado. People noticed the absence of defensiveness. They noticed the refusal to perform jealousy. They noticed that the woman at the center of the conversation wasn't trying to win a war nobody asked her to fight. The response was swift. "This is what partnership looks like," fans wrote. "This is grown." It felt like a curtain being pulled back to reveal something patient and real. From the moment curiosity about them turned into headlines, their strategy didn't shift. They remained restrained, like two people who know exactly where they want to pour their energy, into the work, into each other, into the quiet parts of life that don't need documenting. There were no endless selfies at events, no attention-grabbing public displays designed to feed an algorithm. Instead, there were rare glimpses. An after-premiere photo with soft smiles, a candid moment when one reached for the other's hand while leaving a crowded venue. When Afra said, "We fit," those two words carried the weight of a year's worth of choices that refused spectacle. More than a stamp of approval, they were an affirmation of the balance they'd built, a promise to keep choosing presence over performance. It signaled respect for Mert's drive and steadiness, just as it reflected her own self-knowledge. People who work with them have remarked off the record, but with that particular fondness reserved for professionals you admire, that they keep the chaos outside the door. The commentary that followed was unexpectedly soft, almost tender in tone. Industry watchers, who often turn to sharper tools, used terms like measured and mature. They took note of how Afra's language has long refused to escalate. This, after all, is someone who's learned to speak with intention, who sees no victory in a headline that costs you peace. The steadiness of her approach mirrors what fans have always suspected about Mert, that even with fame pressing in from all angles, his anchor is internal. Their choice to be consistent, showing up to support each other's milestones without turning it into a parade, has been the clearest sign of what sets them apart. People love to say chemistry can't be faked. Maybe the same is true for calm. There's an integrity in refusing to turn love into a talking point, and the comment that went viral didn't invite a spectacle, it shut the door on that idea and left only the beauty of a yes. There have been moments when the bond between them revealed itself so plainly it didn't need explanation. One night at a major awards ceremony, Afra arrived through a side entrance, slipping past flashbulbs to sit quietly until Mert's category was called. He didn't perform surprise when he spotted her, he smiled as if he'd known she was there all along. Later, at an intimate film screening where industry names tend to be seen more than they see, Mert appeared at the back, hands in his pockets, watching Afra hold the room. He didn't step forward for a photo wall and didn't need to. People present told the story afterward without embellishment, he was there. That was the point. These are small gestures in a universe that prizes grandeur, but that may be why they echo. Their togetherness seems to be built on showing up when it matters and making sure the noise can't touch the center. Then came the New Year's window into their world, a series of stills posted without captions, tones warm and unfiltered. A scarf tucked into a coat, a laugh caught mid-tilt, a city street blurred behind them. It wasn't a declaration so much as a reminder, and it reignited curiosity without fanning any fires. Afra's recent sentence floated over those images like a subtitle, "We're aligned." With that, the commentary shifted. Not everything requires decoding, it turned out. Sometimes two people choose each other and let the rest be known by the quiet evidence of how they carry themselves. The message was unmistakable. The affection audiences fell in love with on screen had been tempered by real life, made steadier by time. Friendship has changed shape, but its foundation, respect, humor, and instinct to protect rather than expose, has survived the transition. It's the same language spoken in a different key. There's another angle to this story that deserves its own light, the regard Mert shows when he talks about Afra. He frequently points to her discipline, to the way she calibrates emotion in a scene with precision and still exits without letting it swallow the rest of her day. He admires how she claims her space without apology but also without sprawl. In a landscape where oversharing is currency, she doesn't trade on every detail of her private life. She values the work and carries the rest with quiet hands. That steadiness has become something younger colleagues talk about, a map for how to hold success without being consumed by it. If Afra's words about Mert reframed the conversation, Mert's posture toward Afra confirmed what those words implied. This is a partnership built for the long distance, not the headline sprint. So what are we left with when the day's stories fold and the rush of gossip comes? A portrait of three elements rarely allowed to coexist in the public eye: friendship, love, and balance. In their world, all three are present in the same room, unthreatened by each other. Afra's sentence became more than a tidbit to circulate, it transformed into shorthand for a way of being. Editors spun their subheads, yes, but the audience focused on the tone is steady, clear, without the barbs and barbed wire so often strung around famous romances. If this is their new era, it is not built on spectacle. It is marked by two people who choose to show a little and keep a lot, who answer when it matters and live the rest off stage. And for those who were waiting to see how Mert would reply, his answer was simple and perfectly in step. He liked the sentiment, then said, "I feel the same." It landed like a period on the end of a beautifully composed sentence. A single line can define a moment, and sometimes the softest ones are the most enduring. That's why this will be talked about for longer than a news cycle. It isn't a scandal, it's a standard. It's a reminder that a relationship can be both visible and protected, that history can evolve into intimacy without losing its first truth. If you want more of these stories from the heart of the entertainment world, subscribe, tap like, and tell us in the comments, what do you think true friendship is? We'll be back soon with another chapter, right here on Whispers of Turkish Stars, where the brightest headlines are the ones that feel like real life.